to Friday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where we're on another of these extraordinary runs of puzzles that seem to happen ever more frequently. If you haven't tried the puzzle from yesterday by Juice, do check that out. What a beautiful Sudoku that is. And today we've got a debut on the channel for Rock Rat Zero, a pseudonym and a half, that one, with a puzzle called Lasso Roundup. I don't know why. I guess it looks like there's something circular going on in the grid. It looks a bit like that looks like a bit of a wheel that's been delineated by the purples. Now, this has been recommended to us a lot, by the way, and it's meant to be quite approachable, this one. So hopefully we should be in for a treat. Now, before I read you the rules, though, I need to say a very happy birthday today to Aspen. Now, Aspen, your partner Joshua has been in touch with us, and I understand you've been laid up in bed with COVID and flu for the last few days. I'm very sorry to hear that, and I can empathise with the COVID side of that, at least. I'm only just over my bout of that. So I hope you're feeling better today. I hope you're feeling well enough that at least you can have a little bit of cake and can celebrate your birthday. So yeah, happy birthday to you. Now, the other news today is about this being the 1st of July, of course, and that means that we have got the most incredible gift for you over on Patreon. If you're a patron of the channel, go over there right now and attempt this Sudoku Hunt by Joseph Nehme, one of the world's great constructors, where there's 13 puzzles, no less, all themed around equal sum lines. And the logic in those puzzles is beautiful. Mark and I were testing them over the last couple of weeks, and we were just like, oh my god, these are so good. They are so good. And I'll obviously be shouting out the names for the next few days, at least, of anybody who does manage to finish all 13 puzzles. So yeah, do have a go. I know that you'll enjoy it, and I know that puzzle solving time is a scarce resource. But if you have to allocate your puzzle solving time to anything, those puzzles would certainly be very high on my list. Now, that's all I've got to tell you. So why don't we kick off with Rock Rat Zero's debut. These are the rules. Normal Sudoku rules apply. Digits on an arrow sum to the digit in that arrow's circle. So that means those two cells there, for example. Let's make this 1 and 3. 1 plus 3 equals 4. So that's how that arrow could work. Then we've got digits on a purple line form a non-repeating consecutive set which can appear in any order. So what that means is, let's imagine we managed to work out there was a 9 on this line somewhere. Let's put it there. Now, because we know this purple line has to be a consecutive set of digits, we now know that this is a 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 set of digits. We don't know the order, though. The order can be anything, but we've got to put 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 now on that purple line. That's how purple lines work. Now, grey opaque circles. So it looks like we've got grey opaque circles without arrows. So that's even more clear. These 3 cells are the grey opaque circles without arrows, and they contain the sum of all their orthogonally adjacent cells. Right, so that means this one is summing those 3 cells. This one is summing those 4 cells, and this one is summing those 4 cells. So this is, I've done this rule before recently. It was called something like neighbourly sums or something. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what the word is, but it's something like that. So basically we just look at the orthogonal neighbours, sum them up, and put those in the grey circle. Now, do have a go. The way to play is to click the link under the video as usual. Now, I get to play. Let's get cracking. We've got a given digit today, which is very kind of Rock Rat Zero. And the first thing that's occurring to me, I've seen this sort of pattern of Ren bands before, and I think that it leads to the phenomenon of roping, doesn't it? Because, yeah, I mean, where do those 3 digits go in box 4? Well, because of Sudoku, they can't go in those 3 cells. And because they can't repeat on their own purple line, they can't go in those 3 cells. So these 3 digits get sort of transposed into those 3 cells. And that means that these 3 digits must go in those 3 cells in box 1. And the moment you get this pattern for one stripe, you can repeat that striping, if you like, immediately. Because now we'll ask where those 3 digits go in box 4. Now, because these 3 digits are most certainly not blue, they don't go in those cells, and they're not blue because obviously that would imply there were 2 of the same digit in box 1. So these 3 digits cannot overlap with blue. They cannot go in those 3 cells by Sudoku, so they have to go on the line there, which means they have to go down there. And then we can complete the roping by just doing that same logic for those cells. And we get a particularly offensive form of Neapolitan ice cream. Oh, I don't like that at all. Let's change that up a bit. Now it looks much more edible. Anyway, so we've got roping going on in these columns now, and we've got that roping lassoing around the grid. But this is going to be where it gets tricky to highlight, because we've got roping going on in this row as well. Obviously those 3 cells must be the same as those 3, must be the same as those 3. But to show that, it's going to get very messy, because I'm going to have to highlight this in a different colour. So I'm almost wondering whether I've got to be a bit chromatically sparse today and a little less colourful than I'd like to be. Ew. How do we do this then? The answer to that is I don't know. I can see there's no 2 on this Ren band, which is a little bit interesting. Each of these Ren bands is 6 cells long. So imagine that we lined up the digits, not the gridits. What are gridits? I don't know. Line up the digits 1 to 9 in a row and take a slice of 6 of them. Well, there are a couple of things we can say there. The first is that we're always going to have to include a 4, 5 and 6 every time we do that. Because if we start from 1, we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if we start from 9, we're going to go 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So we've always got to have 4, 5 and 6 in the slice. But here, there is no 2. Because of the roping, this 2 is in one of those cells. So the 2 is locked off the Ren band. So in this particular instance, we're not selecting from the digits 1 to 9, we're selecting from the digits 3 to 9. And therefore, this Ren band has to have 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 on it, for certain. And then another digit that's either going to be 3 or 9, depending. So, okay. But these green digits, whatever we put in green, therefore, cannot be the numbers that we know are on the Ren band. And we know that the Ren band has on it 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So the only digits that we're allowed to put in green now are 1s, 2s, 3s and 9s. Now, is that interesting? The answer to that is I don't know, but it might be. So maybe I should label up all of these green cells, 1s, 2s, 3s and 9s. And these have got to be 1s, 3s or 9s. And this cell is one of those funny ones about the neighbour sums. So that can't be 1 or... No. Okay, so what... Oh, this is done. Yes, right. This is very important because what is this digit? And the answer, at first blush, the answer is we don't know. But if we think about its nature, it is the sum of those 2 and those 2. It's sum of 4 digits. But these 2 are in the same column. So the minimum they could be would be a 1-2 pair. And the minimum these could be would be a 1-2 pair. Now, that means 2 lots of 3, which adds up to 6. So this circle has to be at least a 6. But we know it can't be 6, it can't be 7, and it can't be 8, because if it was any of those, it would be wiped off the Ren band. If you try and put that digit here, you can't put it on this Ren band. And we know this Ren band has 6, 7 and 8 on it, so that has to be 9. And if that's 9, we now know there's no 9 on the Renban, which means the Renban, which doesn't have 2 on it, is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes. So it has a 3 on it. And if it has a 3 on it, you can't put 3 in these cells. So this is now... So we've now got the start of the roping. We've got 1, 2, 9 in the green cells. That's really clever. It's really clever. And we've got a 1 or a 9 here, which is a very extreme digit. So this Renban is full of extremities. It's either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or it's 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Let me just think about this a bit more. So these digits now are the collection of digits 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Ah, what about this? This is an arrow, and we're adding these 2 digits up, which is, and we can't include 1 and 2 in the sum. So this is at least 3, well, a minimum of 3 and 4. So this is at least 7, and it could be 8, and it can't be 9. So this is 3, 4, 5, and there's definitely a 3 in orange now. So there's a 3 in orange, and a 4 or a 5, and there's a 7 or an 8 in blue. Oh, that would be very useful if we knew it was here. Or the corollary of that would be, or a different way of thinking about it, if we knew the 3 was here, then we would know this couldn't be a 9. So maybe I've got to think about this. This roping? Do I want to get rid of... I don't know whether I want to get rid of my horrible coloured Neapolitan ice cream. And try and think about... This is tricky, actually. I don't know what the way... Or maybe I leave one... Maybe I leave one rope vertically so that I remember. I don't know. I've done the green, so why don't I get rid of the green colouring? And I've not really put much in blue, so I'm going to get rid of the blue colouring. Now, I want to think instead about this and how this works. So this blue can't go along its own Renban, so it goes up there, which means it goes along here. Sorry, rather persistent doorbell. Sorry if that's woken you up. But what were we doing? We were just, well, yes, we were roping our rows using my chromatic bluenesses, and therefore, okay, but do I want to continue roping all of these rows is the question. So those 3 are on there. There's a 2 on this line as a result of that, which means there's a 2 over here. Right, okay, so therefore, right, I don't know if we need colouring, because now all of a sudden there's a 2 on this line. So there can't be a 9 on it, because then it would, if it was a 9 on it, it can only get as low as 4. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. So this now, because there's a 2 on the line, there's a 1 here, which means this is 9. Now, so now 9 is in one of those 3 cells, and 9 is in one of these 3 cells by roping. And 1 is in one of these 3 cells. Now, one of those cells is a funny circle cell, which is the neighbouring sums, isn't it? So this circle cell can't be a 1 because it's it's summing 3 digits, so it's at least a 6. And it can't be a 9 because of the 9 being down here. So this is 6, 7, or 8. Now, can it really be 6? If it's a 6 and the 2 is here, we'd have to put 2 with a 1, 3 pair, which would make... Oh, no, it's easy. Oh, that's really clever. That's really clever. It's nothing to do with that. It's to do with the fact that there is a blue digit now that is a 6, 7, or 8. So we can use the roping and the Renban to tell us what this is. Because we've got 1 on the Renban, we know this Renban is made up of the digits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But we know this digit is on the Renban. So how could it be an 8 or a 7? It can't be. That's got to be a 6, and that means there's a 6 in one of those two cells. And coming back to it, that means these three squares have got to be a 1, 2, 3 triple, and the 2 has to be here. This is beautiful. It's really surprising as well. It's weird. So that's not a 3. And now this is... Oh, I see. Yeah, in fact, look, we now know that there's a 3 in this domino. And because of the orange roping, we know that's got to be the 3. That's got to be the 6. This is now 1, 3, 6 triple by roping. Do we know more than that? Yes, we do, because we know these have got to be consecutive on the Renban, so they've got to be 4, 5, which means this is 4, 5. This down here is 2, 4, 5. These squares are now 7, 8, and 9, which means these squares are, you've guessed it, 7, 8, 9. These are 7 and 8. And now we've got a 7, 8, 9 on a little short stubby arrow, so that's 7, 8, or 9. Not 9, because of Sudoku, of all things. Very mean, Rockrat 0, to make me do Sudoku at this stage. So now... Well, now do we have to look at this one? Is that the next thing we're meant to do? We're sort of working our way around the lasso. Possibly. Although this one doesn't look quite as appetizing to me. I don't know whether that's just me being prejudiced against vertical Renbans, but okay, let's just think about this. So these cells are the same. And this is quite a... I'm just thinking these cells are quite disparate. Like, that's definitely a high number. So there's definitely a high... So there's no 1. There's no 1 on that Renban because there must be a 7, 8 or 9 on it. And therefore the lowest digit we can get to is 2. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yes. So this square is not a 1. So that's now 3 or 6. And none of these is a 1. So what is the equivalent roping of these three so it's those 3 digits haven't got a 1 in by roping. So yeah, so if we were to rope and actually fill this in, these 3 would be the rope in columns 7, 8 and 9. So that we can't have a 1 here, or we'd have a 1 on the Renban and this 7, 8, 9 would be broken. So that means we have got the 1 placed in this little triple, and we can say, so what's the, so there's now a 1 in one of these. Now we know the 1 is not in the funny cell, it's not in the grey cell. So, but we also know, okay, so we also know there is a high digit in here. But whatever that high digit is, it sees the whole of the Renban. So I'm thinking about this cell here, where that cell is in one of those 3 cells. And by being in one of these 3 cells, it wipes itself off the whole of the Renban. So if this was a 7, surely this cell then becomes impossible. Because if this is a 7, we're saying there's a 7 in one of these. There is no 7 on the Renban, but there would be an 8 or a 9. And that, obviously, if there's an 8 or a 9 on the Renban, there needs to be a 7 on it. So that cell is not 7. And by the corollary of that is surely that this cell is not 9. Because if this was 9, this Renban would contain 9, 8 and 7. And yet there would be one of those digits here wiping itself off the Renban at the same time. So that seems sensible. So this is now 7 or 8. What does that mean? So there is no... But if this was 8, I could put 8 here, 7 here, and then I could have 7, 6, 5, 4, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2 on the Renban. and that might work. Okay, look, I can see another thing I can do here using this digit. That digit is one of these funny digits. So the minimum I could put in there would be a 1-2 pair. The minimum I could put in there would be a 1-2 pair. So this is at least a 6. And the only digit in the rope that corresponds to at least a 6 is the 8 or the 9. So that's got to be the 8 or the 9. And these scale cells have got to be from 1, 2, 4 and 5. Ah, this is beautiful. This is it. We've done it. We've done it. Because it's by the roping. So in fact, I haven't been very helpful here because I haven't roped these 3 digits. Let's actually do that with reds. And so you can see what I mean. I know it doesn't show up very well with the blue background. I'll get rid of it in a moment, but I just want to show the logic here. So we've worked out these 2 cells are equivalent. And I know by roping, these 2 cells therefore are for 1, 2, 4 and 5. But I also know that whatever I put in this domino cannot appear on the Renban anywhere. And yet this is a 6-cell Renban, so it must have a 4 and a 5 on it. So I can't put 4 or 5 in these cells. So they become a 1-2 pair, which means that's not a 2. This is a 2 by that logic. So we've now got a 1, 2 down here with an 8 or a 9. You can't put 9 on the arrow. And okay, now let's get rid of my red highlighting because it is a bit offensive. And let's have another think about this and see if we can improve upon the state of affairs. Well, surely, actually, no, it's the same logic, isn't it, for this cell? This is a yellow cell. So if this was 9, it's on the Renban, which we know it can't be on the Renban because I couldn't put 8 on the Renban then. It's really clever, this. So that is the 9, which means that's the 9, which means we're roping 1s, 2s and 9s. That's what we're roping. So 1, 2 and 9, don't put 9 on the arrow. And therefore 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is what we're looking to put on here. This cell is at least a 5 now, because it's adding 3 plus 2. So this is 5, 6, 7 or 8, therefore. You're looking at the roping rather than the maths of it, but I think the maths would give us the same answer. Oh, that's lovely. Okay, I can put 9 in the middle box. Because 9 is in one of these 3 cells. What would happen if 9 was on the Renban? Well, the Renban would have to be 9, 8, 7, 6, and this cell would have no value. So that doesn't work. So the 9 must go in the middle, which does nothing. Okay, I've got a 1, 2 pair in this row, look. I've got a relatively extreme digit on this Renban at the bottom. Whether that's 1, 2 or 9, it's putting certain digits in here, isn't it? Okay. So this is yellow digits. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out what this means. I'm failing dismally, aren't I? That's not a 2. Okay, that's not a 6. Now, if that's a 6, I'd have 10 on this arrow. So that's the 3, which means that's a 6. So 6 is a green digit. So there's a 6 in here and a 6 in here. Let's put that in. And there's a 3 and a yellow digit. There's a 3 in here and a 3 in here. The 3 can't go there, because that would mean this arrow needed to be a 1, 2 pair, and that's going to break this column where we've got the 1, 2 pair. So that's not 3. So this This cell is now at least a 4. So this cell is at least a 5. So this is 5, can't be 6, 5, 7 or 8 into the circle. And that corresponds to a yellow digit. So it's either going to be this digit or this digit. Oh, bobbins. Okay. Is that helpful or not? I don't know. And then in this string of digits, we've got 4, 5, 6s, 7s and 8s. So that is the cons. Right, so what's that digit? That's an interesting question, because that digit sees the whole of this rem band. Now I know this is a 6-cell rem band, so it has got 4, 5 and 6 on it. So this square is not 4, 5 or 6 and can only be that digit. So that is 7 or 8. That digit is 7 or 8 by Sudoku now. 3 plus 4 or 5, that's 7 or 8. So these three digits are the same. And this digit is therefore 4, 5 or 6 by roping. And doesn't remove any of the options from this cell, which is a bit frustrating. Okay. So therefore, oh, no. Right, now I'm going to pivot back to yellow. This is really beautiful. I love this puzzle because look, yellow has got threes, a 3. I'm going to put a 3 in one of these. It's got a 4, 5, and it's got a 7 or an 8. Now. Actually, maybe I'm wrong about what I was about to say. I might be wrong about what I was going to say there. I can tell you this is not 4 or 5, obviously, because if that's 4 or 5, I'm wiping 4 and 5 off the rem band, so that's not 4 or 5. So this cell is either 3, 7 or 8 by that logic. Is that good enough? I don't think that is quite good enough. This square I've just noticed is 5, 7 or 8, so I've almost got some sort of weird quadruple in the bottom row. And okay, now I'm stuck. So I know that one of these is 3. If this is 3, this ren band is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That would force this to be 9. Oh, that doesn't work. Oh, that's the point. That's the point. No, I needed to not think about yellows at all. I needed to think about the fact that the impact of this being green, well, no, not really the impact of this being 7 or 8, that's forcing this not to be 9. Because if this is 9, I need to put 7 and 8 on the rem band, and I can't do it. So this is now 1 or 2, which means this ren band has got 3 on it. If it's got 3 on it, that's not 3. Good grief. So that's 3. This is a 7-8 pair, so this is 5, which means that's 5. Now this square has to be 4. It has to be lower than 5. It's on an arrow, so that's a 1. That's a 2. This is a 2-3 pair now to add up to 5, and it not be involving 1 and 4. This square's a 9. Good grief. And now yellow is 5, so that's 5, that's 4. We don't know what the 7 and 8 order is, I don't think, but I do know that digit's a 6. And we also know that this is a string of digits that doesn't have a 7 on it now, so it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they haven't put 1 and 4 in. So this is a 1 and 4 pair. This is not 1, this is not 4, this is actually a 3 by Sudoku. That's a 2 by Sudoku. So this digit should be known, that's a 6. Which is the, oh, it's a blue digit. Okay, so those two are blue, which means there's a blue 6 in one of these cells. By roping, 3, 4, 5, so this cell is a 7 or an 8. This 1 is doing some work. That's 1, that's 9. 6 in the bottom row must go here. This must be 7 or 8. And this is 4 or 5. So now these squares are 7, 8 and 9. And that's a 7, 8 or a 9. It can't be a 9 because that's a 7, 8. I've now got a 7, 8 pair here. Now that means this renban in the middle has not got 7, 8 or 9 on it. So it's from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. 1, 2. So it must have 3s and 4s on it, mustn't it? So there's definitely a 3 and a 4 on this central ringy thing. I've got a 7, 8 pair here. I've got a 5 here, so that's a 5, and that's a 4 by Sudoku, so that's not 4. This 2 at the top is doing work. I should have seen that before and failed. These are not 3, so there's a 3 in one of these two cells horizontally, so this isn't 3, this isn't 3. And by Sudoku there is a 5 on my purple line in the middle box, which means there's now no 1 on it, so there is a 1 in one of those two cells. The 3 plus 5 last time I checked added up to 8, so I could have written in that a while ago, so that's doing some work. Look, 8s go into the grid. Oh, and this 7, 9 thing is all finished. So that's a 9 by Sudoku. This should be an 8 by Sudoku. Wow, okay, so that finishes off the 8s and the 7s at the top, which finishes off the 8s and the 7s below. Right, these 3 digits are now 3, 5 and 7. Don't know if we can do better than that. We can get rid of the 7 from that one and the 3 from this one using pencil marks. And, oh, more, that's a 7, so that's not 7. So the 7 goes in this cell, exactly. And these 2 digits have got to be 4 and 6. And that corresponds with our roping, so that all looks sensible now. Okay. Oh, you know what I haven't done? I haven't thought about these funny totals at all. Right, so this is now a 9, so that's the sum of those 4 digits, so that can't be 5, that's got to be 3. So I've now got 6 here, which means these two have to add up to 3, so that's a 1 or a 2, which is not a 2, that's it, look, that's 1. So that's 1 and that's 3, therefore that's 3 by Sudoku. I need a 6 in this column, which must go there on this funny renban thing. So that means this is now, it's got to have 4 and 5 on it, and we can see the order, 5 and 4, and that's a 2 in the corner, 2 and 1, 2 and 1. This square here is now a something, not the most descriptive thing I've ever said in my life. It's a 4, I think, which means that's 5, that's 4. 4 is an orange digit, so that's 4. Which means this is, oh, that's already done. That's adding up to 7. That's strange. 7 and 8 go in. 7 and 8 go in. This one, this 9 is 3 plus 1 plus 2, so that's worked. This needs to be a 6 by Sudoku, and I need 5 and 8 to finish the puzzle. Wow. Oh, no, I don't. I need a 5 here, and now I need a 1 and 4 to finish the puzzle. And that might be finished. Let's click tick. Yay! Absolutely sensational. Absolutely sensational. What a brilliant puzzle that was. That's very strange that the sort of... I've seen these renban lines do roping before, but what I've not seen is it sort of be so profoundly effective, and then this lovely logic as you sort of flowed round the grid. It's very, very beautiful. Really a magnificent debut, Rockrat Zero. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Let me know in the comments how you got on. I do enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.